So it's not just a bag of mixed short reads. It's actually two bags, and the data are actually linked where you know what forward goes with what reverse in the bags. These nuts. Hello. I am John Beckman, Professor John Beckman, Dr. John Beckman. Documented to be correct 99.9% of the time. And coming to you live from Southern Command with half my brain tied behind my back. Okay, getting sick of talking about genome assembler algorithms, but have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So today we're going to talk about trimmers, which is pre-processing before you load into the assembler algorithms. The most common trimmer for short read data is Trimmomatic. So here's the actual paper on Trimmomatic, a flexible trimmer for Illumina sequence data by Bulger, Lowe's, and Usadel from Germany. This was a short paper, pretty easy to read, so let's dig in. Test, is this microphone working? Yes. Okay, a little points on the introduction and where we are in the class. So this lecture would probably be early in the class, right after modern genome sequencing lecture, because it involves pre-processing. So again, these are algorithms that are taking raw read data from Illumina and processing it to get rid of errors, bad sequences, adapter sequences, so that it can actually be assembled. So I will not go into the detailed chemistry of sequencing. I could do a lecture on that in the future. But what you need to know is that when they do Illumina next generation sequencing, you create a flow cell that has a grid system. And they use chemistry to attach DNA molecules to these grid spaces so that the sequencing can proceed in mass. And the way that they attach these DNA molecules to the grid is through these what are called adapter sequences. So you have some DNA molecule, and these adapter sequences get placed on the ends. And those are what bind the DNA to the flow cell. And because the adapters are A's, T's, G's, C's, they can actually come out in the sequencing. So in all sequencing data, these chunks need to be eliminated before the data is processed because it's not actually part of the genome. So these need to be trimmed out. That's what the trimmer is doing. And the trimmer is also getting rid of bad data. So in any sequencing process, the longer the read is, towards the end of the read, the signal intensity gets very low. And so usually at the end of reads, if you have a long string of some read, A, T, G, C, etc., towards the end of the read, usually this is a chunk of bad data because the signal intensity just goes so low at that point. And also in the beginning of the read is also a section, typically, of bad data. So typically in any sequencing process, really it's a section in the middle of the read that constitutes the good data. And so a trimmer's job is to find that region of good data and get rid of the crap so that when you try to then assemble the puzzle of the whole genome, you're only working with the good data. Another thing to note about short read sequencing, short read next generation sequencing, is that you typically have what are called paired end reads. So DNA is double-stranded, dsDNA. There are two strands of a DNA molecule. Here's 5, 3 prime, 3 prime, 5 prime. These are two separate molecules. And when you do short read DNA sequencing, the technology is able to sequence both these ends. So it'll sequence one end and the other end. And those are what are called pair end reads. And this is important to understand because the algorithms that need to handle short read sequence processing, you need to understand that these reads are linked in the data. So for every DNA molecule, you'll get a forward and a reverse strand of that molecule, and those are linked, and those need to be linked in the data analysis. So it's not just a bag of mixed short reads. It's actually two bags of forward reads and reverse reads, and the data are actually linked where you know what forward goes with what reverse in the bags. These nuts. So that's important to understand for algorithmic development, is that any algorithm needs to keep track of these forward and reverse pairs. You can't split them apart or sever the data linkages. And one thing that I learned from reading this paper is that long read does not have the paired end reads. So this is a short read. This is specific to short reading technology. And so what you're really going to start to understand as we talk more and more about these algorithms for genome processing is that, again, all these algorithms are custom designed, custom built, and algorithms for long read are not going to work on algorithms for short read. You might use the same heuristics, the same styles, the same data structures, but all the code is going to have to be uniquely crafted for the particular application. All right, so let's talk about Trimmomatic and what it's doing. We'll talk about the pseudocode and the basic gist. So there's two modes to Trimmomatic. One is called simple mode, and the other is called Palindrome Mode. So what the computer scientists realized is that it wasn't sufficient to just have one type of processing. They needed a couple different algorithms seeded into this to get perfect trimming of the reads. And so first we'll talk about this first one, simple mode. So simple mode is essentially a sliding window. So a sliding window algorithm is a string-based algorithm. So imagine you have some string ATGC of length n. Here's the string. What a sliding window is going to do is it's going to construct an index of bases that it's looking at a particular time. So here's the window. Let's say the window is, in this case, looking at 4 bases. And it's going to have a loop structure where in the loop, or it's an iterative loop structure, it's going to iterate over the bases. And every end of the loop, it's going to slide its position +1 or plus whatever. So that what's going to happen is this window will progressively slide during each step of the loop until it reaches the end. So that's a sliding window. It's essentially scanning a sequence. And what the sliding window is doing in simple mode is it's doing an alignment. So this is a paired alignment where you have 2 sequences. You have a sequence in the window. You have a sequence in the DNA string. And what simple mode is doing is it's actually allowing you to input the sequence that goes in the window. So you know the sequence of the adapters. When you sequence DNA, the company that's doing the sequencing, they know what chemicals they're using, so they know the sequence of the adapters. So that's the sequence that gets input into the window. And essentially what's happening is it's sliding that check sequence across the DNA string, looking for matches of that adapter sequence so that it can find out where they are and get rid of them. I need to do a separate lecture, I think, on alignments, just because alignments are so important. There are many lectures on the BLAST algorithm, so this is using a similar approach to the BLAST algorithm, but maybe I'll do a whole separate lecture on alignments, add that to the list. This is using a particular alignment heuristic, important for bioinformatics, called the seed and extend approach. So the seed and extend approach is a heuristic alignment algorithm that speeds up drastically. So normally in an alignment, if you were to do this the brute force way, you have to check every sequence against every base. So that's an n length sequence across compared against every position of another n length sequence. So that's an n squared algorithm. You could speed this up directly if you do this seed and extend approach, which is we don't need to check every single base at first. What we need to do is we need to divide the adapter sequence as the input into smaller k-mers. So maybe this would come after the k-mers lecture. So they break the adapter sequence into smaller k-mers. They look for near perfect matches. So they're sliding a sub k-mer through this window, checking for near perfect hits. And then if it finds a near perfect hit on a small k-mer, it will do the extend. So that's the seed. The sub k-mer is the seed, and then once it finds a near perfect match, it will extend on the left and the right, continuing the alignment left, right, increasing or calculating a score based on whether or not that is a match or not. And so as long as the score keeps improving, it's going to extend that alignment to find the whole length of the alignment. And if the score hits a threshold, so at some point you're going to stop getting matches and the score is going to start to decrease, then that's what cuts the algorithm off. So it's essentially a little window of sliding, and then when it finds a match, it's going to extend and see how far that match is, and then it nails the alignment. the edges of the alignment. And in this case, then you know the limits of the adapter sequences, and the spaces can be marked for trimming. So then they're going to collect and report all the highest score alignments, and this is in this case matching with the adapter sequence, and then they're going to trim those alignment matches. Here's the actual picture that they have drawn of how this algorithm works. Here's their sliding window. It's sliding, and wherever the window's matching, they're doing the alignment. And it's essentially marking off, okay, the green is a good read area. The blue and the red are areas for trimming or adapters. So it knows what is a good part of the read if it's not matching the adapter sequence in the window, is my understanding of it. So the seed and extend makes this a lot faster because we don't have to compare every single base to every single base. So that's simple mode. Then it also executes what's called palindrome mode to find sequences that need to be trimmed. And palindrome mode is a custom algorithm designed to detect a very specific fluke that happens in this short read sequencing. It's designed to detect what's called an adapter read-through. This is when you have a sequence of DNA that is small, flanked by the left and the right adapters. So in a good chemical setup where you're going to get a good read, you're going to have a longer template between your 5' and 3' adapters. And this is going to give you a good read. This is going to give you a bad read if that sequence is small, because you're essentially just going to quickly read through that small read, and then most of your sequence might actually be adapter. So this is going to produce a read that's essentially like a lot of adapter, a tiny amount of data. That's a bad read. This is what's called a adapter read-through, if I understood that correctly. And there's going to be a ton of these mixed in the data that you need to address. And so what this algorithm actually does is it takes the forward and the reverse read, and it does a reverse complement alignment. So if these things match, you'll have an A that binds a T, a G that binds a C, etc. They're going to be binding their reverse complement. Or one strand of DNA is going to be binding its complement, and you can reverse it so that you can deal with it in the algorithm. So it's going to align these reads on top of each other. And if this is an adapter read-through, there's going to be an adapter here, and there's going to be an adapter here. And so by sliding these two windows across each other, the alignment is able to detect where the adapters are and where the sequence is, and mark those edges for trimming in the case of adapter read-through. One thing that I did not quite understand that I wish was explained a little bit better is it's not clear to me why that would not be detected in simple mode. But the authors did make it clear that for some reason there are flukes of the DNA that simple mode does not detect. And so this palindrome mode as a separate algorithm, part 2, is necessary to perfectly clean up all the data. So they literally say a comprehensive strategy requires the combination of both simple and palindrome modes. But I didn't catch why exactly that was. We'll trust them. Okay, so then they have a section on how they actually do the computational scoring. So they're not comparing strings. They're not taking an ATGC, comparing that to an ATGC, etc. What they're actually doing is they have a coded bitwise framework for each of these letters. And here it is. So A is coded in bits 0001, T is 0010, C is 0100, and T is 1000. So this speeds up the comparisons because you have to compare less bits. If you actually take the ASCII code for these ATGC letters, that's actually that's a slower computational process than just simplifying these into bit code. So then whatever they're checking for in the window gets translated into the bit code. And then they use a bitwise XOR, which is a sort of a fundamental function in digital logic circuits. And that's going to mark the spots that differ. So what a XOR is going to be, to explain this to my biologists, hopefully I get this right. Let's do this comparison with a XOR function. And they define the XOR here. It says, which determines which bits differ between the two seeds. So if there's a perfect match, the XOR code is going to be a 0000. So essentially, if it's a match, XOR is going to give it a 0. And if it's a not match, XOR is going to mark it as a 1. So when you do this alignment and check these bits schemas, it's going to check this one. That's a perfect match. So it's going to be 0. This one, this is a mismatch. So it's going to mark it as a 1. this one, that's a perfect match, so that's a 0. This one, that's a perfect match, so that's a 0. So what the XOR is doing is it's a simple digital logic circuit function that's marking all the spots where there's a difference in the bit. And from there, you can calculate the score of an alignment. And so here they tell you the scoring algorithm, which is essentially somebody worked out how best to score these mismatches to rank these alignments. So that's how they're quickly computationally actually doing the scoring of the alignments. And then the final thing that the trimmer is doing, I told you that as you go through the read, if you were to look at the chromatograph, if there was a chromatograph, at the very end of the read, the signal intensity gets very low. And so this is low quality data. And so this needs to be trimmed out. And so then this is a third sort of algorithm, another sliding window where they have a sliding window and they slide this and it's checking the quality score for the signal intensity on these bases, the prediction of these bases. That's what this paragraph is describing. And when the average quality of a group of bases drops below a specified threshold, that's when it marks this needs to be trimmed. We're now entering a region of bad data. That's a third part that this Trimmomatic is doing. So there's kind of like 3 sub-functions within Trimmomatic. And then there are a little bit more complicated heuristics in what they call maximum information mode of Trimmomatic, which is the best, you get the best results if you click the toggle of maximum information mode. And what maximum information mode is doing is it's doing all these algorithms with some heuristics that take into account the coverage, error rate factor, a combined score, a threshold factor, etc. So it's essentially like looking at all the parameters of each of these reads and taking those into account as it does the trimming. And if you click that toggle, you get the best results. I didn't go into the details of what sets these parameters. That would be a parameter discussion. Okay, and then at the end of the paper, they compare, they don't show a lot of data, but they have a tables, and they essentially compare their Trimmomatic to other state-of-the-art trimmers, and their conclusions from their data are that Trimmomatic remains the best performer, especially in maximum information mode. And this is the most commonly used trimmer that I have been aware of. I think it's on the Galaxy platform, and this is what my students have been using for trimming. Okay, so that's a very short lecture on trimmers. Hopefully that's useful. Now we can start getting into some other algorithms, hopefully. Well, there's still a lot we need to talk about. I mean, I haven't looked into the algorithms for long read sequencing, how those are different. I have not yet looked into the genome annotators yet. So we kind of still have a long way to go before we have done a real complete and thorough analysis of all the algorithms that are applied to biotech before we even get to the AI. Okay, so lots more to talk about in the future. Have a good day. Happy Friday. I shall meet death head on. Decade, you've got to get out of here. Beware foul demons and beasts, there are many foes here. The time has come to cleanse my heart. This monastery reeks with evil and corruption. Oh, I hate staining my hands with the blood of foul sorcerers. Eternal suffering would be too great for you, Diablo. Let the gate be your time to die. I shall meet death head on. I shall meet death head on. Decade, you've got to get out of here. Beware foul demons and beasts, there are many foes here. The prime evils are no more. The prime